Upon entering downtown Columbus for the first time, after crossing the red-cabled bridge, visitors notice something curious about the small city. They may ask themselves why masterworks of modern architecture, like Elio Saarinen's First Christian Church, are mingling with traditional Victorian storefronts and vernacular Midwestern buildings. Exploring further, they notice a space-age looking church by Saarinen's son Eero. A library by I.M. Pei, a Kevin Roche post office, a hospital by Robert A.M. Stern, and a tiny bank by Deborah Burke. And most incredibly, one of the nation's most important works of residential architecture tucked modestly behind a dense hedge. Eero Saarinen's Miller House. This improbable assortment of works by the biggest names in design make Columbus an essential experience for scholars, practitioners, critics, and aficionados of architecture and good design. The story begins during the horse and buggy era at 301 Washington Street, a corner storefront known today around town simply as 301. Joseph Ireland Irwin opened a dry goods store there in 1882. Because he owned one of the only safes in town, as a courtesy, he allowed his fellow merchants to store their cash there, an informal system that eventually led to a successful banking business, taking his interests in a new direction. A generation later, the wealthy banker's son, William G. Irwin, took a chance on new technology innovated by the family chauffeur, a mechanical prodigy named Plessy Cummins. And in 1919, the Cummins Diesel Engine Company was born. William's great-nephew, Joseph, known as J. Irwin Miller, presided over Cummins for the second half of the 20th century. Under Miller's leadership, the corporation rose to global prominence. During that time, Columbus was also growing. Irwin Miller encouraged his hometown to find modern architects to design the new schools needed to accommodate the 1950s post-war baby boom. For the first new school, Lillian C. Schmidt Elementary, Miller proposed the creation of a partnership. Cummins Foundation would donate the design fees if the school board would choose an architect from a list prepared by the foundation. After the school was successfully built, the school board asked if the Cummins Foundation would contribute the design fees for other schools. They did, and the Cummins Foundation Architecture Program eventually expanded to include any public, tax-funded buildings in Bartholomew County. But Miller's interest in modern architecture began long before the architecture program was born. He encouraged his family to commission renowned Finnish architect Elio Saarinen to design the church where they were members, which happened to be located just across the street from the family home. The 1942 structure is the oldest of the 7 National Historic Landmarks in Columbus, and it signaled the start of the community's quest for design excellence. Miller believed modern architecture would help Columbus be seen as a forward-thinking community. With the establishment of the Cummins Architecture Program, modern and contemporary architects saw Columbus as a city that welcomed their bold ideas. By the 1960s, important architects of the day began to hope for commissions here. The bar had been set. Other community leaders, including B.F. Hamilton, founder of Costco, and Robert Brown, owner of the Republic newspaper, also chose world-class architects when building homes, churches, offices, and factories. Today, Columbus is home to over 70 buildings designed by many of the most noted architects of the 20th century. Stunning landscapes by masters like Dan Kiley Michael van Valkenburg, and Jack Curtis are artfully woven among these landmarks. In creative concert with the world's leading architects are some of the most inspiring and talented artists, including Henry Moore, Dale Chihuly, and Jean Tinguely. Using Columbus as a backdrop for sculptural artworks, they propelled artistic expression into a realm of exciting visual innovation. Columbus is indeed an improbable town. With a population under 50,000, Columbus has established itself as one of the most important design communities in the U.S., welcoming tourists, journalists, architects, landscape designers, and aficionados of good design from around the globe. Through the practice of adaptive reuse, new organizations have begun to call some of Columbus's most significant modern landmarks home. Cummins Inc. has received National Preservation Awards for its sympathetic repurposing of Eero Saarinen's former Irwin Union Bank. Today, the building thrives as Cummins' Irwin Conference Center. Indiana University students in the fittingly titled J. Irwin Miller Masters of Architecture program learn to sketch, build models, and design for the future in Myron Goldsmith's 1971 masterpiece, the former Republic newspaper building. When asked about architecture and a community's quality of life, J. Irwin Miller said, "What is built reflects what a city thinks of itself and what it aims to be." Columbus, he said, should be the very best community of its size in the country. Bolstered by these bold ideals, Columbus continues its quest for innovation and design excellence. Leading-edge manufacturers from 9 countries are located here. People from around the globe make Columbus their home. The city's diversity creates a rich community with vibrant activities and celebrations. Residents and visitors alike enjoy a lively downtown arts and entertainment district full of one-of-a-kind galleries, restaurants, shops, and boutiques. In other parts of the city, national brands provide a host of shopping opportunities. Families play in thoughtfully designed spaces and enjoy award-winning parks and recreation facilities. Columbus welcomes you to enjoy all the city has to offer, whether you stay for a day, a week, or a lifetime. You'll experience the vitality of an international community wrapped in the warmth of Southern Indiana hospitality.